Montreal in Canada will play host to the 15th UN Conference on Biological Diversity from the 5th to the 17th of December. The summit was meant to take place in Kunming, China, but was relocated due to the country's zero COVID policy in 2020. COP15 aims to halt the alarming rate of global biodiversity loss. Its final global biodiversity framework agreement is likely to be negotiated just hours before the Qatar World Cup final on the 18th of December. Let's discuss this further with one of South Africa's youth delegates, Sophumelela Qoma, from the Youth for Marine Protected Areas. Sophumelela, thank you very much for joining us this evening on Newsnight. So we've just had COP27, which focuses on climate change, and this is COP15, focusing on biodiversity. Surely those two facets are extremely interlinked. So what came out of the recent COP27 meetings that pertains specifically to biodiversity loss and the way forward?
Hi, Ali. Thank you so much for having me. This is such an honor for us as the youth movement to be held in eNCA. So the COP27 deals with climate change, while the COP15 deals with the biodiversity and ecosystem services. So what came out that is a big take, I can say, from COP27 is the announcement from our Minister, Barbara Chrissy, saying that we will be increasing our land protection by 0.5 every year until, I believe, 2028. And that will increase our protection from 16 to 26%. So yeah, that's a big one that came out from COP27. And obviously for COP15, we are hoping that, again, another big win from the ocean side will come forward.
Why is biodiversity so critical, and why is it so important that we make big strides in trying to curb biodiversity loss?
Look, Annie, one of the biggest things I believe we don't really understand, especially when it comes to our oceans, is that our oceans are our lungs. So if we do not continue to protect or expand our protection, we are actually affecting ourselves in the end. And it's very important for us to note that at this very moment, extinction rate is happening at 1,000 rate than it did before. And therefore, it's important for us to actually make strides towards ocean protection and expansion, obviously done correctly, notifying things that have happened in the past in South Africa. So the more we increase our ocean protection, we actually make sure that we have food security for generations and not just for currently. And on top of that, ocean protection ensures 12 million jobs globally. And for South Africa, 27,000 people are employed in the fishing industry, and 1,000 more obviously gain from that, families gain from that.
Now, the Conference of Parties to the UN Convention on Biological Diversity has been criticized for over-promising and under-delivering, with many of its previous goals and targets not met yet. Do you think this year will be any different?
Yeah. This is why we're doing this. This is exactly why we're actually coming here and honored to have the space, is so that we can urge our government to be part, first of all, of this COP15 and the targets of it. So just to touch on that, there is a goal right now called 30 by 30. This is coming from the CBD Target 3. So what this means is we need to protect 30% by 2030. And we've been talking about ocean protection, and this is part of the post-2020 GBF goals. And we actually want to see action, because we've been talking a lot, having these meetings, and we honestly ask ourselves, what is different about this COP15? Are we just continuing counting numbers? We're going to have COP15, COP16, COP17. We actually need actions taken right now. And this is why we want to show our government what we stand for as youth and what we want to see in our country, because we know the minute we sign off in our country, the benefits will come at the end. So, yeah.
What role, what stance has South Africa previously taken at these COP meetings specifically focused on biodiversity, and how are you hoping that's going to change this time around to be more proactive?
You know, last time we promised, or South Africa committed to protect 10% by 2020, and that did not happen. And obviously, with this 30 by 30, we want South Africa to sign, but it says we support. So supporting and actually signing off is two different things. So it's been a lot of talk. And we, as we're saying, we would really like to see action, because the amazing thing is this: if we can actually sign off on these things, we're actually opening ourselves to more funding as well. Because one thing about what we've been hearing in the meetings that we sit down with the government is that, you know, it's resources that are actually needed, and we understand that. But if we can actually sign off into these environmental actions, we're opening ourselves up to funding from the developed countries, because there's funding being set aside to come to developing countries to ensure that these biodiversity goals are met. So yeah, that's where we stand with our government, and we truly appreciate the steps that they have made, the strides that they have made thus far to see our ocean protection reaching 5.4. But we really, really need more, and I believe we can, especially if we can work together.
Sophumelela, so often when we talk about well-laid plans, government's plans, policies, global plans and policies made in a number of spheres of society, we see implementation falling short. And unfortunately, it's the youth that are going to bear the brunt of a lack of action on the climate and biodiversity front. So how do you encourage other youth like yourself to stand up and hold not only our government, but global forces to account when it comes to protecting our planet?
Thank you so much for that question. I just want to start it like this. I love the reaction that was made on how we call our oceans, because previously we said our ocean, it's ocean, but it's ocean. So the minute we realize that we are actually all impacted in this one ocean because we are all connected, I believe that that's where the action starts. That we are all connected, and we all need to actually stand up, use our voices, because the more we mobilize ourselves and the more we mobilize what we stand for and what we want to see, we will be heard. Because these governments are there because of us. But now we need to come together. So in the realization of that, young people, we're going to, you know, this is our earth, we're going to possibly see the sixth extinction in our decade. It's time for us to actually step up, learn, educate ourselves, and actually speak to the right people and combine. So one of the biggest thing with us at Youth for MPAs is that we collaborate with international organizations in that realization, because we as South African youth alone will not be able to change the world view. We need to come together as the youth of the world, and we will be able to change and actually make action.
Well, thank you so much for the role that you are playing. That's Youth for Marine Protected Areas, Sophumelela Qoma, speaking to us about COP15, which is coming up during the first week of December. Keep an eye out for that.